This Stinson took off from Bruce Meadows in Idaho, heavily loaded, high density altitude, and could not climb. This is what the density altitude can do to you in the backcountry. Flying in the mountains is a beautiful experience. The scenery is amazing, but it has its challenges and you have to respect them. High density altitude and the weather are major factors to fly in the mountains safely. Time of the day and weight of your airplane are very important when flying in the mountain. Many times you are approaching through canyons. The strips are one way in, they're short, so you have to be on your game to fly safely in the backcountry. Backcountry flying is very rewarding. You go to remote places, the scenery is beautiful, you go camping, enjoy fishing, but you need some training and to know your airplane very well. So if you fly in sea level airports and flat land, my first recommendation is to go to a mountain flying school. There are many good ones like Bush Air, it's located in Nevada, and there's some in McCall, Idaho. So it's a matter of to search and go to one of these schools. Also read books made for backcountry flying, they help a lot as well. Read a lot and don't be afraid to ask. And practice what you read in these books. There are also specialized instructors that will teach you in your airplane, like Andy Hoover. What gets most pilots that are not used to flying in the mountains is high density altitude. This graphic explains easily what it's about. So at high density altitude your engine produces less power and the airplane less lift. That happened in this accident in Bruce Meadows. This is a close call, but that was also attributed to high density altitude. So some things that will help. Do not load your airplane, fly light. Not only cargo but also fuel. I have side fuel senders, very accurate, and I know exactly how much fuel I have. Every time I'm flying, the gauge shows me exactly how many gallons I have. Plus the fuel computer is very useful. Don't go out with full tanks for a 1 hour flight. Inspect the fuel visually and make your calculations. Believe it or not, Flight Simulator 2020 is a great tool. You'll see here and compare the visuals of real life flying on to Lower Loon and the simulator. The mountains are in the same place in the simulator as in real life, so you can go and practice and get to know every single airport you plan to visit. You will see how the canyons are and you will be familiar with the terrain before you go. Many streets in the backcountry are only one way in, so you need to come slow at the right speed. And also you need to touch down in the area you're supposed to. You cannot float, come too fast, because then there's no go around and you will be in big trouble. Here is another example. This is Johnson Creek in Idaho. You can see how good the flight simulator is compared to the real scenery. So really it's a great tool to get familiar with an area you're going to visit. And here's the flight sim. You can change the weather, the wind, the temperature, so it's a good simulation. Other recommendation is to fly early. It is cooler, better performance, and before the winds pick up. Weather is a big factor in the mountains, so respecting the weather is a must, and knowing the weather too. Knowing your airplane before you go is also important. Here, I'm taking off from Marble in Idaho. The airplane is a little heavy, so I stay in ground effect for a bit to get some free performance. And instead of trying to climb those trees, I go between the gap between the mountain and the trees, so I don't have to get too steep and lose some speed. Same takeoff. This is looking from the ground. You see I lift and then stay in ground effect. Tires touch a bit because there is a bump. No problem there. Stay in ground effect to get more speed, then go between the gap and the trees and the mountain. This is not a standard takeoff, but if you have the tools and need to do it, it's always helpful to know your airplane. Here we are approaching to Wilson Bar. This kind of approach is very common. You come in the canyon. I'm looking for a mark of the mountains, some loose rocks mark the point where you have to turn to final. This is a blind base turn to final. This one has a go around, you can continue in the canyon. It's just an example of the kind of approaches you get in Idaho. So this approach, for example, you have to come in the canyon prepared to turn on a blind final. So you have to have set up with flaps and speed. This is a one-way in strip, so you don't want to be too fast and float. So in this case you have to come set up way in advance when you're flying the canyon, ready for the landing. Another effect created by density altitude is you land faster. The ground speed increases, so you have to take that into account as well. This is Camp Patriot in Montana. Some strips are smooth, some are rough. What kind of tires do you have? That's also important. If you have small tire, stay in the smooth strips because it can damage the airplane. This is an example. This airplane has Alaska bush wheels, 31-inch tires. It's a medium-sized rock gravel bar. I will never take my 182 in this gravel bar. Recommendations: flight school, practice in your airplane, know your airplane, be aware of high density altitude, and respect the weather in the backcountry. In the mountains, the winds can get really bad. Fly light, don't carry too much. Start with the easier streets. Take your time and have fun. Hope you enjoy, and please join me in the next section on how to become a patron to support Backcountry 182 YouTube. It is very easy to join, to be a patron of Backcountry 182. Go to the YouTube channel. On the right hand side there is the link, and then it takes you to the Patreon page. Here you can see all the tiers and what is all about the support for Backcountry 182 YouTube channel. Also, another way to access the Patreon link is in the description of the video I put in YouTube. On Backcountry 182 channel there is a link for Patreon, so just click on that and it will take you to the page. Thank you for watching, and it will be amazing if you guys are interested and give some support.
Hi, I'm Dana, Larry's wife, and today we're excited to announce the launching of Patreon for our YouTube channel Backcountry 182, which give fans and friends the opportunity to support creators like Larry and myself by paying a monthly amount and receiving exclusive content. So with your support through Patreon, we will be able to make more and better content more often and new videos. And Larry can connect with you more personally to hear your questions and concerns and what would you like to see. The really cool thing of being a patron is that every dollar amount does help. So go ahead and check out the tiers. You can be a fan and look through our goals to see what we will be able to achieve together at every level of support. Come join us and be part of our adventure.